Hey everybody, and welcome to Tiny Kitchen Farm Flavor. This is a video series that features meats from our farm, local veggies, and other local products. And what we do is cook meals for our family in our tiny kitchen. So we live in a Montana fifth wheel, and you can see it behind us. My husband and I have been living in RVs for years. And one of the things about living in an RV that's challenging is obviously cooking, cleaning up, things like that. So we don't have a dishwasher. We try to keep things to minimal pots and pans, and we like to use food from our farm and other local ingredients. So in this month's episode, I'm doing a fried rice. Basically what we did with this rice was used meat from a wild hog that a neighbor shot and brought to us that I butchered down fully. We're using the coppa from that hog, so that's going to be the upper shoulder portion where the neck area is. It's a really nice marbleized portion and it's really tender, so we're using that. We're using some pork belly, and then we're also using some stew meat. The stew meat could be from the jowl, it could be from where I cut down the chops, basically any kind of extra pieces of meat that I had pulled off of the bone. So we use that. We use local rice from Edisto Island, South Carolina, and then veggies that I got at the farmer's market, with the exception of garlic. And then obviously we bought soy sauce and things like that. I didn't follow the recipe to a T. I made a huge portion because we were going to a coastal organic grower meeting, which is a meeting of like-minded farmers in our area who use organic practices, anything from peanut farmers to meat farmers to veggie farmers to beginning homesteaders. Anybody's welcome to come to that meeting, but what we do is we bring a dish of food from our farm, whether that's featuring our veggies or our meat, share with everyone, share community, and just enjoy an evening together where we can kind of talk shop, bounce ideas, and talk about the upcoming year or what kind of struggles we had or what's going on at that time. So we made a huge pot of this. For us, this was a big dish to make in our kitchen. I used 4 or 5 different pans or pots. So that's a lot of cleanup when you're hand washing dishes, but still I had a small space that I was utilizing, and it worked out fine. It definitely is not a easy, quick meal. It took me maybe an hour and a half to put the whole thing together, but we had leftovers, and this is something that you can make for your family, then have the next day. And so follow along in the video, enjoy. Remember that you can change it and make it however you want. You can follow a fried rice recipe, or you don't have to. For me, I just looked at the ingredients list, picked them up at the grocery store, and went from there. So enjoy the video and comment if you guys have any questions. Between the farmer's market and the grocery store, I was able to grab up all the ingredients I need, including local rice. Starting with the soy sauce, I put about a cup in the bottom of a bowl. Then I started with my pork. This is the coppa. You can see how marbleized it is. This is from the shoulder portion of the hog. You can see the fat going through the meat. It's going to give us a lot of flavor and a lot of tenderness through the cut. I cut the meat into bite-sized portions and then popped it into that bowl with the soy sauce in it. After I finished up with the coppa, I went ahead and got some of the stew meat cut up. The stew meat is going to be from parts of the hog that were left over. So it could be from the jowl, it could be from the bones, any of those places where the cut had additional meat on it but wasn't really big enough to leave on its own. I took that and put it into the stew meat package for later use. And I just went ahead and cut it down a little bit further. Then for extra flavor, I got some pork belly. The pork belly is going to have a lot of fat and meat. So the fat is what brings us a lot of the good flavor. Watch what happens when I cut this belly. Look at the layers. Fat, meat, fat, meat. It makes for a really, really deliciously flavorful cut of meat with a lot of tenderness to it. Pork belly is what bacon comes from. So I did about half of that slab of belly and then set it aside. I'm going to use that for a later date. Then I went ahead and got the garlic, and I put the cloves in and tossed it all with the soy sauce. Next, I went ahead and cut down the veggies. First, I started with the carrots. I just cut them down into small enough pieces and stuck them in the frying pan. I added a little bit of olive oil to the pan. You can use coconut oil, vegetable oil, whatever you feel like cooking with, it doesn't matter. I just happen to have olive oil handy. They also suggest using sesame seed oil, which I had bought, but I didn't really use. Then I did the onion, the green onion, the carrot, and all of that was combined into the pan. Tossed it around and let it simmer. Then in a cast iron skillet, I went ahead and took my pork and put it on medium heat. I wanted the pork to cook down slow enough so that the fat could melt into the meat. A lot of what gives pork its great flavor is the fat, especially with wild hog. You want to make sure that you're giving it an opportunity to cook slow enough so that it stays tender. I added garlic into the vegetables and mixed those around. And after doing the garlic, I added the peas. The peas were frozen and they were the last veggies to go in. As the pork continued to cook, I went ahead and mixed the veggies around more and let them simmer. I also wanted to add a little bit more seasoning and finish up with the ingredients for the actual pork fried rice part of it. So I went ahead and added some black pepper. I also went ahead and added some salt. And after I added in the salt, I also added a little bit more soy sauce and then mixed it around and added the last ingredient for the mixture, which was the hoisin sauce. That gives it like a really nice smoky flavor. It's almost like a barbecue sauce. It's a little bit sweet, a little bit smoky. It's really good. I added 2 tablespoons of that into the vegetables. Next, it was time to cook the eggs, but I needed the burner that the meat was on. So I went ahead and pulled the meat out and put it into the bowl after I had washed it. And then I was able to move the cast iron pan off of the stove, stick it into the oven where we keep it, and go ahead forward and do the eggs. A little tiny bit of olive oil, and then I cracked 5 eggs into the pan. These are eggs from our chickens, and I pretty much cleaned out my fridge of the eggs that we have from our chickens currently. I went ahead and just scrambled them up in the pan. And once I felt like they were scrambled enough, I went ahead and covered it. Ellie helped me out and stirred a little bit. And then I got a big pot, the same pot that I was going to take to this dinner, and went ahead and put the meat and the veggies together. Then I finished up the eggs, got them nice and fluffy and broken down a bit, and then was ready to put them into the mixture as well. Mixed it around, and then it was time to do the rice. James helped me with the rice. I had to go out and check on the pigs, so I didn't get to get the entire process of cooking the rice, but just cook rice like you normally would, and then once it's finished, combine everything into one pot. And there you have the finished fried rice that I made.